They say technology makes our lives easier for work, to learn, to travel, to communicate. But there are things that machines cannot yet do. Things as important as engaging, putting themselves in your shoes, having intuition, or making intelligent decisions. In an increasingly technological world, we need professionals who provide intelligent solutions based on their know-how. Because there are things that technology cannot yet do for you. The human tech.
Good afternoon, everyone. Well, thank you very much for joining us today on the 10th of March, 2026. Today, we're going to talk about the legal and tax structure of annuities in Spain, equity release, and buying a property in Spain. We've got several experts today, so I hope you will enjoy the webinar. This is going to be recorded. You can just watch it back from our website, and hopefully, if you did register, you will get a video later on. Okay, I'm going to introduce you here first. Let's see whether they can hear me. I've got Pedro. Hello, Pedro. Can you listen and hear me properly?
Hello, Ignacio. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon.
Okay, then on the left side, the south in Andalusia, I've got Michael Davis. Hello, Michael. Good afternoon. Yeah, the microphones are off. Yeah, just okay. Then from the Wealth Management Financial Advisor, Rafael, can you hear properly, Rafael?
Yeah, sure. Good afternoon to everyone.
Good afternoon. And then I think we are contacting from Barcelona, Albert from Santander. Hello, Albert.
Hi, how are you? Good afternoon to everybody.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for all of you taking the time off today to just share with the public in general about three important things. One will be about buying a property in Spain in a safe way, that Pedro and Michael have a lot of experience on the conveyancing side. Then we'll just jump on whether you already have a property in Spain. Albert could explain to you how easy it is to apply or difficult to apply the equity release for you to have a pension, a life pension that could help you in the future. And then after that, we will talk about annuities. I consider that is a very important product that not everybody knows and is aware of, and might benefit you if you qualify in order to get a life pension with a very high tax benefit. Okay, I'm going to pass over to Michael and Pedro to talk about buying a property in Spain. Over to you.
Hello, everyone. Well, my name is Michael Davis. I'm a Spanish lawyer, and I've been in practice for just over 30 years. I work mainly down on the Costa del Sol and in Almeria in Andalusia province. I think we've basically covered the whole of Spain with this seminar today, because you've got Pedro up in the north and you down Alicante. We've got everything covered. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly go through. I think you've told me that I've got 10 minutes. Yes, Ignacio? 10 minutes?
Yes, 10 minutes each one, and then we'll start questions.
We're going to go through the buying process.
Yes.
Okay, so basically, if you're from another country, you're thinking about moving into Spain, and you want to buy property, there are a few sort of considerations that I think you should be thinking about. So one of the first things that I think you should do is line up a lawyer in Spain in advance of finding the property, because once you find the property that you like, you tend to fall in love and everything starts moving very, very quickly. So to have a lawyer lined up is a good idea. So unlike in the old days, 20 years ago when I started, you now are spoilt for choice. In other words, all along the coast of Spain, you're going to be able to find a good English-speaking lawyer. So there's no need to go along with whichever one is recommended by the agent. In fact, that is not a good way of choosing a lawyer. So look around, speak to your consulate, the US consulate, the British consulate, the Australian consulate. They've all got lists normally of lawyers. They don't say that they're not recommended, but lawyers that have tended to be around for a long time. So that's one good point of call. Ask around other people that have purchased in the area and investigate online. You can also ask the estate agent, but that should not be the main source of information regarding what lawyer to choose. So once you've got a lawyer lined up, I definitely go and meet them, if necessary, over Zoom, get to see, make sure that you're happy with them. Get a budget, find out what they're going to charge you in advance, so there's no surprises later, and make sure that apart from the purchase, they're going to be able to deal with all the associated matters that you are going to need in Spain, like tax numbers, maybe visas, opening a bank account, organising powers of attorney, organising the services once you've purchased the property, making your Spanish wills, and hopefully well into the future, maybe deal with an inheritance. So those are sort of the basics that I'd recommend that you cover when you choose a lawyer who hopefully will be dealing with everything moving forward. So once you've got that in place, you start hunting around for a property. Obviously, you can hunt online. There are big websites that with lots of properties to have a look at, or go via an agent. Once you find a property that you like, most agents are going to ask for a reservation of anywhere between €3,000 and €5,000 to take the property off the market. This is sort of a necessary evil. It's their way of differentiating time wasters from real buyers. So basically what you do is the moment they ask for that money, you call the lawyer that you've already got lined up. He'll tell you whether this estate agent is sort of someone that's been around for a long time, and then you can hand over the money and your lawyer will just get the money back if later on he's not happy with the paperwork. He will then move on a second-hand property. He'll move you towards a 10% deposit contract, and on that contract he'll set all the conditions, the time scale for the completion. Typically in Spain, a completion on a property is anywhere between a month and 3 months. 3 months. The lawyer is going to organise the associated matters like the NIE numbers, the opening up the bank account, the power of attorney, and all those things he'll do probably between the deposit contract and the completion. When you complete at the notary, you're going to need all the money here in Spain to purchase the property. And basically, you've got to think along the lines that all the taxes and fees here in Andalusia on a second-hand property come to around 10%. You've got transfer tax, notary fee, registrar fee, solicitor's fee, NIE number fee, and sometimes there's a little bit of extra power of attorney and other smaller items. Count on about 10%. If you're in the Valencia region, count on about 12%. The difference is that in Andalusia, transfer tax is 7%, while up there it's around 10%. It's 10% in your region, isn't it? Up there in the Valencia region at the moment, Pedro, 10%. So that's it. If you buy a new property, the taxes and fees, instead of paying, for example, Andalusia 7% transfer tax, you actually pay VAT at 10% plus a 1.2% document tax. In the Valencia region, you pay 10% VAT and 1.5% document tax. So it's slightly add on 1% basically for a new property in not 1%. In the Valencia region, you basically add on 1.5%, but in Andalusia, you will actually add on 3.2% because of the different ways the taxes work. So basically, once you've purchased the property and the property is now in your name, all Spanish lawyers, if they know what they're doing, are going to recommend that you make a Spanish will in relation to your Spanish assets. It's definitely, we've done lots of probate cases over the years, and that is definitely what I'd recommend that you do. Make sure you do a Spanish will in Spain to cover your Spanish assets. You're going to need to talk to your lawyers about maybe visa requirements. If from outside the EU, you won't have those problems anymore if you are from the European Union. So that's sort of the buying process in a nutshell. But the buying in Spain is 100% safe if the lawyer uses all the normal safeguards that exist. So you can purchase a property 100% safely. If you buy a property that's under construction, the one extra piece of advice that I'd give you is always make sure that after each stage payment, you get issued with a bank guarantee, which is an insurance policy on each stage payment. You are entitled to it, and your lawyer will need to make sure that it's requested and that you do physically get hold of it. I know there's not much time enough here because I know there's lots of things to cover today. So that's sort of like an aerial view of the buying process. If there's anything specific that you'd like me to sort of mention, just let me know.
Hey, Michael, just two things. If you could share your email, I just share with you your articles about buying a property in Spain and your website. If you just share it with us. Just with regards to transfer tax, actually, we have received. Pedro, would you like to share that?
No, that's right. I mean,
Michael?
transfer tax in the region of Valencia we had a change. It was last year that those properties over 1 million euros is being changed into 11%, and from June this year, so it still is 3 months before it's going to be changed from the 1st of June of 2026 from 10% to 9%, but it still keeps remaining the 11% for those properties who are over 1 million euros.
It's not much. It's not much, but it's better, isn't it?
It's a bit. It seems a bit crazy.
It seems crazy
to me. It seems crazy to me that they've actually told you in advance because it's going to stop all the transactions until it happens. That's crazy. It's crazy.
There is no way to stop it, Michael, with regards to where we are at the moment. I mean, it's impossible. I don't know how it's in Andalusia. I think it's booming as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Pedro, would you like to please add anything about off-plan properties or anything that relies and refers to Alicante or Costa Blanca about buying a property in Spain? Yeah.
Well, just to mention what he said, I mean, just to put the dot on the I in terms of importance of independent lawyer whenever you want to invest or make a really big decision, which is an investment. And obviously, we may think I'm going to buy a resale, I'm going to rent it, I'm going to move to Spain, or I'm going to just to buy a new property, and it's going to take 2 years. I mean, just to have a representation in Spain is high recommended, and obviously it's high recommended to have an independent lawyer. Many lawyers, many law firms in Spain are spectacular firms, very reputable firms. And you will be handling with good hands in terms of investing. And well, that's all, Ignacio, about property. I mean, I think it's been perfectly mentioned and described by Michael. And if let's go ahead with the financial issue, and then we will be answering the questions.
Well, let me just introduce the audience as well. So probably most of you might be abroad thinking about relocating to Spain, obviously thinking about your visas, thinking about your tax planning. And obviously over the seminars and webinars, we've been advising people to do all the homework before you move to Spain, especially if in your home country you've got specific allowance that you might not have in Spain. Okay, sometimes clients might ask, Ignacio, Pedro, are we better off selling before we relocate into Spain? And obviously, if it's tax-free, whatever is tax-free in your home country, we always recommend you to do it before, unless we can discuss it over for different reasons. But this is part of the tax planning. So I really encourage you to speak to your lawyer about relocating and doing things by the book and properly, because you're going to save a lot of time, money, and stress, which is the most important thing. Now, talking about relocating to Spain, I know a lot of you people will come to Spain, start renting, get your visa sorted, rent it, and buy a property in Spain. Michael and Pedro discuss with you about all the ins and outs, and they're sharing with you here a lot of information. If Pedro could share information about buying as well, etc., is good on the videos. Okay. Now, now that you bought a property, and then let's take a scenario, because I know Albert and Rafael will concentrate on those who are over 65. Okay, but let's start doing planning. Okay, I have a pension. Probably I don't have children, or I have children and they all say, Dad, Ma'am, you do whatever you need to do, use your equity, your pension, and I'm happy to sign everything. Okay, so we've got the scenario with people and clients with no children. They live with two charities, so this is a good option for them to use the equity release from their own investments, and people with children who are happy to let you enjoy and squeeze the assets and get a pension and eventually pay it off in the future. So here we have a product that my friend Santander Mafre did create it or relaunch it, because it was from 20, I think the last time it was 2007, I think is the time I heard about equity release. So almost 20 years ago, this product in Spain did not exist. So Albert is going to explain to us easily, if we are over 65, how can we have a pension from our main property, which is our main home? Thank you, Albert, and over to you.
Good afternoon to everybody. Thank you. Okay, the summary of the product is really easy. We improve lives, okay? I am the specialist in Alicante area, the reverse mortgage, Santander Mafre, and I manage all the steps with the customers, with the clients together. We do together the process. I help to everything, and the customers and the clients have my cell phone, a direct communication with me, the WhatsApp, email, or a cell phone. Okay, it's really easy, and we do together the process. About the companies, I think everything is clear. Santander and Mafre, they are really important companies in Spain and around the world. They are like global companies, okay, and they have a really great warranty to the clients, okay. I would like to share a little information, characteristics about the product with everybody, okay. Let me see a moment. Okay. First of all, I would like to speak about what are the reasons and motivations in order that Santander Mafre makes market again this product. The first reason, all the reasons are really logical. The first is because the life expectancy every time is longer. We live more. We have better health and we live more. The second is like the rising daily expenses and inflation. The bills every time are higher, and the inflation also. We can have the example, for example, now with the war now in this moment, the petroleum or all the products, they are higher. The third could be the stagnant or discrete pension amounts. Every time it's difficult to keep same level. We want to live in the same level, but with the inflation, every time is more difficult. With similar incomes means less savings every time, okay? And the last reason probably could be that the traditional credit barriers for those over 75 years. The people, the customers, when they go to the banks, they are like invisibles to the banks more than 70, 75 years in order to ask for a regular loans or regular mortgage. Okay, it's impossible to get financial after 70 or 75 years. What are the three main characteristics of the product? The first one is guaranteed monthly income to the clients, minimum 350 euros a month. Based of the age and the property value, we calculate a monthly amount to the owners, okay? This monthly amount cannot be less than 350 euros because it's practically nothing. Optional, we have also a initial liquidity. Until the 10% of the property, we can offer at the first day, okay? The motivations for this initial liquidity could be some motivations. Works at home, like windows, change kitchen, change bathroom, the pool, the garden, doesn't matter. We offer this initial money, doesn't matter for the works at home. The second could be to pay taxes. If you have any tax to pay, we can offer this initial liquidity for that. Or another could be medical service to pay doctors and surgeries, or just cash. If you need the cash, you can ask for the first money, the initial liquidity. The third characteristic is that the company is not really interested in the property. We just put a guarantee in the house, but the property always remains with the family. This is really important. The family have always the property, and when the owners die, they are the heirs that decide what to do with the property, okay? What about the heirs and the inheritance? During the process, the heirs must be informed of the operation. It's important because probably they have to pay the debt when the owners die, okay? And it's important that the heirs knows about the operation. Also, they have to accompany, the client have to accompany the heirs have to, sorry, the heirs must accompany the client during independent counseling. The Spanish bank obligate during the process to do a meeting with the owners and the heirs to explain again the product, and they have two different ways about the project, okay? They are more sure about that everything that we explain is okay. And what happens when the owners die, okay? The heirs have three options. The first option is logical. They want the property and they pay the debt and to keep the home, okay? They can go to the Bank Santander to ask for a loan or to a mortgage, or if they have cash, they pay and they have the property. The second one is to sell the house or the property and to clear debt. Okay, this is really easy. You put the house to sell, and the person that pay us the debt and the difference for the heirs. And the third one could be to renounce to inheritance. Okay, this is really complicated and strange, but could be like that. If you don't want the property, you can renounce. Okay. And other details and obligations about the reverse mortgage. The first one is that have to be the first residence, the fiscal residence in Spain, okay? The property must be free or charged, of course, and valued over 150,000, okay, euros. Recommended for age more than 75, 80, because for law you can do more than 65, but for the amounts, if the amount have to be a really high amount, have to be more than 75, 80. Okay. More age means less life expectancy and means more amount. Okay. And lump sum cannot be used to cancel existing debts. The initial liquidity is not to cancel another mortgage, for example. It's just for works, taxes, etc. But with the initial liquidity, it's not possible to cancel the mortgage in the same house, for example. If you have a mortgage, you have to cancel first, and after that, we can do the reverse mortgage, and with the initial liquidity, you can back the money to the person that helps you or everything, okay? And another characteristic obligation important is that the reverse mortgage Santander Mafre practically don't have commissions for the clients. Okay, with approximately 600 euros, we sign the contract. Okay, no commissions, no taxes, and no links. That is important because it's practically to start without use money. Conclusion with 4 aspects. For us, or for me, practically, the reverse mortgage can be an ethical product because the ownerships maintained always be the family. Okay, the bank just put a guarantee in the property, but don't touch with the property. Is fair. Interest is only paid at the capital actually disbursed. The question is that you don't pay taxes for the capital at the end of the product. The client just pay for the money that we offer the clients every month. It's flexible because even the client can rent the property and maintaining income, okay, and to have another income. You have the pensions, etc., and another income, the rent and the reverse mortgage. And finally, is reversible. Of course, it's a regular mortgage, and the client can cancel this mortgage, doesn't matter when. 1 month, 1 day, several years. They can sell the property and cancel the mortgage. Is not a problem. Okay, it's really easy. Some people do like there are practically 2 lines for the product. One line is until the end, when the people die and the heirs pay the debt. Another line of the product could be a temporal line to do the reverse mortgage for several years, and in several years the people back to the country, or the people sell the property and cancel the mortgage. Really easy, d'accord? But between this time, they have a better economical life. Finally, the summary. The objective is to improve lives, to fix lives, unlocking the home value, and with no practically competition in Spain. Okay, this is the objective. The objective is to have a better life, economical life, to think on another things, not just with the economical, to think about enjoy the life. Why not? Okay, this could be a little the summary. I would like to share also another, if we have time, to share one simulation, if it's possible.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, let me see if I can do. Let me see. Well, I don't know. One moment. No, yeah. Vale. You can see the simulation?
Yes.
Okay. We can, for example, we put first one person. The first, after that, we put some age. For example, the people was born in 94, Mars, 100%. The price 400,000 euros, for example, one in Alicante, one zip code is the fiscal house. Yes, don't have mortgage, of course. No, don't have another mortgage in the property, and the properties, nobody lives in the property, just the owners. Could live the medical person to service, but no child or another part of family. And we put, for example, to start 4,000 euros. The result, they have 2 results. One, life expectancy is like 11 years, and the monthly is for 1,000 euros first day, more 773 euros month. One is one line, and another line is for all the life. This is really complicated to explain here. It's so long. We will explain if the people and the customers are interested. Okay, but just to know that we have two lines. One line to life expectancy until 11 years in this case, and for all the life. Okay, and if I would like to show you just the last one thing is the incomes that we offer and the debt every month. The debt, the first month, of course, is the first day is the 40,000 euros. Okay.
Albert,
and
so you could apply for 10% upfront. Yes.
Yes,
so
I did. Yes, I did the example for the 40,000. Yes, because
drawdown. Yeah.
I did some reverse mortgage, and generally the people need to do some work at home always, or to pay some taxes, or just to have more cash in the banks. Generally, the people ask always for initial liquidity, and if they ask for 40,000 euros.
Yes.
Every month, the debt amount with 773 euros, and the last debt is in the last line. Okay, every month, the first line is the debt is the last line. Okay, until the 11 years. You can see every month. You can see every month the debt that you have. This is the result of the. It's really easy. Every month, you know, every month the debt that you have. Okay, and more or less this is the product that we have, and Santander Mafre is really easy, and you can cancel when you want. Well, it's a really good product to improve the lives that I said before.
But just one question: you will need to either 5%. You don't need documents to prove what I want the money for.
Yes, it's more information. Yes, if you ask in the initial liquidity just the 5%, you don't need any document to share with us. You have only to share some documents more than 5%. But it's really easy to with just budget, any budget or any payment that you did in your home the last 1 or 2 years, we have enough in order to do more than 5%. Okay, with budgets, it's enough.
Right, and one more question of that. I know from that pension, depending on your age, is treated like an annuity. I know Rafael is going to talk about taxes on life annuities. Do you want to mention something about the taxation of the monthly pension of that now, or we can discuss it later? I mean, every pension is going to be very well treated. So that pension, depending on the age, is very well treated. Would you like to explain a bit more about this, or you want later on
about the taxes? About the pension, more age, of course, is more because the life expectancy every year is 1 year less, and every year the pension and the income is higher. And with the taxes, the people don't have to pay taxes about the income because it's your money. It's the money you take money from your property, and you don't have to put this money in the Spanish tax.
Okay, that's great. Okay,
thank you very much.
Albert. Okay, thank you very much for your presentation.
If someone wants more information, of course, they have to speak with the international, with you, and the questions and everything. And
we can do the simulation.
I start.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the good thing here is that Albert is Santander, Rafael is Mapfre, and because of the collaboration, obviously Rafael is a financial advisor, Albert is the financial institution granting the specific mortgage, and then thanks to them both, you could do it through us to represent you on the equity release directly from our office, or if you want to discuss it with your bank, if you're banking with Santander or you want to go direct to Mapfre. But the good thing is through us, we have the direct contact with Albert, which is the number one dealing with this product. Very efficient. Okay, and then obviously is a product, Albert, that is not for everyone because it depends on where you buy the property. So that's why I start the presentation
Yes,
here.
we have the
How
property.
important is to buy a property, you see?
See, the property have to be in really good places or areas, because the risk for us just is to sell fast. If when the people die, the property have to sell more or less fast. We cannot wait 3-5 years to receive the money of the debt. And if you buy in a countryside, could be more complicated to sell. For that reason, we study the reverse mortgage mostly in the best places like towns or areas, neighborhoods that they are good neighborhoods. Okay, and the countryside is more difficult. I know that some people likes to buy houses in the countryside, but for this product is not the best one.
So as a summary here to the audience here, I will tell them that basically, if you're over 65, you have a property in Spain, you're a tax resident in Spain, obviously your beneficiaries are happy to do it. If you don't have beneficiaries, that's fine. We can organize the wills for you, and we can make sure that everybody's protected here. And then obviously the location, Albert, I think is crucial here, because if the age and location and the great of this product is that if it's husband and wife, even if one of them still passes away, the other one carries on taking pretty much lifetime annuity or pension here, which I think is great for those individuals that might consider it suitable for them, you know? So that's very, very good, but it's only for residents, okay? So you relocate into Spain, you decide to buy a nice property in a good location. Now, all the locations are good for this product. And then you could apply. Albert, how soon could they apply for this? As soon as they're tax resident? Or do they need to be a minimum of years being resident? Or you're happy to study?
Minimum 1 year. Minimum
1 year of tax.
One tax in Spain. Minimum 1 year, yes, because if not, we have to be problems, yes.
Okay, great. So obviously important as well, as I'm saying, to organize your wills, as Michael stated. And now I'm going to pass over to Rafael, because obviously we try to squeeze as much information as possible for you to take in. And if anybody is leaving, then it will be recorded. Yeah, but Rafael is going to explain to us. So we already chose the right property that we want to live in Spain. We managed to get the equity release, which we already have in our pensions, plus another pension. So it's not incompatible. So I'm having another pension. And then you're saying, Ignacio, Pedro, we are having another property abroad that you're having probably an income. That was your main home originally, which we have a lot of cases of this. And then you decide to sell the property. And you're saying, well, I'm really, because the first advice I normally give is, if you're getting a nice income, the net income is very well treated from a tax point of view. So 50% of the net is tax-free, you see, and the other is taxable according to your income. So you have a good allowance of 50% of the net, even though you have 10 properties, 5 properties, you don't have a limit, okay? Long-term rentals. However, some of you say, Ignacio, I'm getting to an age that I don't need the hassle. I don't want the problems. I don't want to deal with the boiler, the estate agents, etc. So they just say, and they come to us and they say, we want to sell. But here we go. Pedro and myself, we just start working out with Guillermo the income tax return, and we find out that is a very expensive transaction. And this is when Rafael is going to share with you, only for those who might be interested to sell your second home, your boats, your yachts, your nice vehicles. I don't know. Rafael is going to explain all over to you. Okay, Rafael, thank you for joining us. All over to you now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone, attending this webinar. Okay, this product and this part of the tax law is a little bit tricky, but I'll try to explain it as simple as possible because it gives us the opportunity of get rid of some assets that we don't want anymore in our net worth. But selling them would generate a big capital gain tax. Okay, and sometimes we are reluctant to sell them because of the taxes we're going to pay. So I'm going to share a brief presentation with which I will try to be very, very simple in explaining this product. The thing here is that Spanish tax law lets you sell some of your assets, any asset you have in Spain. And let me see if this works. Okay. And then be able to not paying or reducing a lot of your capital gains tax. Okay. This works. Who can benefit from these life annuities advantages? Okay. This is for tax residents in Spain that in the first place, people who are 65 years or older. Okay. And that are selling or willing to sell any kind of asset that generates big capital gains to be taxed in Spain. If you all find yourselves in this situation, this might work for you. Okay. What kind of assets are suitable for this scheme? Okay, any kind of asset you have on your net worth. Okay, from any real estate, mutual funds, stocks that you have owned for a long time, even artistic assets, classic cars, or even if you have a racing horse. Okay, everything you have on your net worth that could generate on the selling capital gain tax. It's suitable to take advantage of investing in a life annuity with the amount of the selling or part of it. Okay. For you to qualify on this, well, you will have to invest the sale amount or part of it in a life annuity that qualifies for these tax savings. Okay. This annuity has to be established within 6 months from the selling date. And by meeting these requirements, the taxable base for capital gains will be either reduced or completely exempt. Okay. There's a limit of what you can invest in a life annuity to get this capital gain tax reduction, and it's 240,000 euros per individual owner. That means that if you are selling with your partner or with your wife or husband, you can go up to 480,000 euros of life annuities and use that base to get the reduction on the capital gain taxes. Okay. If you're selling for an amount of 240,000 euros and you establish a life annuity with those 240,000 euros, whatever the capital gain that was involved in that selling is free of taxes for you. Okay. When the selling price is over those 240 for an individual or 480 for a marital, you will get a proportional reduction of the taxable base. This percentage of reduction will be the result of dividing the amount invested in an annuity divided the net sale price of your asset. Okay. So for this, I know these are small numbers, for sure, if you are watching us through a telephone, but we can share the presentation at any time. Okay, if you sell anything that the net selling price after costs of selling is under 240,000 and you have any amount of capital gain involved in that selling, if you invest those 240,000 euros in a life annuity, you will get rid of all the capital gain taxes, okay? All of it. Then we have some examples. Let's say you're selling some property for 300,000 euros and you just want to invest in the life annuity 150. Then since you're investing just half of the money you obtain from the selling, you will get a taxable base reduction of 50%. In this case, we said we had a capital gain generated of 120,000 euros. You get 50% off. So you will only pay for the capital gain of 60,000 euros. Okay, that same selling, if you are willing to invest as much as 240,000 euros, you will get as much as 80% of the capital gains to be taxed. Okay, then from those 120,000 euros you are gaining on that transaction, only 96,000 would be off the calculation for the taxes. So you'll have an 80%. Then I made another maybe more common example. If you're selling for 600,000, you have a 300,000 capital gain. As you can invest only as much as 240 per individual. So you will get a taxable base reduction of 40%. So 120,000 of those 300,000 capital gains would be of the taxes. Okay. A similar example with two owners, you are selling on 600,000, you have a big capital gain, let's say 350. And since you are two individuals, both of you can establish a life annuity of 240,000. So you will have a 480,000 euros invested in life annuities, and that divided the net selling price of 600,000 would give you an 80% taxable base reduction. So from 350,000 capital gain that was going to be taxed, 280,000 would be out of the question, and you will only be paying capital gain taxes for 70,000 euros. I know this is a bit too fast to be talking about numbers, and what really pays off here is to study particular cases. You know, sometimes there's an asset you're not using much, or you don't really need on your net worth from now on, and maybe you are afraid of selling for the high taxes you're gonna get. So a way of maximizing your benefits is to use these life annuities, with which you would get a monthly income. And then this monthly income is also very well treated from the tax point of view, because it depending on the age at which you make the selling and you establish the annuity, you will have a lot of taxes for free. Let's say here, I'm sorry that this is in Spanish, but since we are talking about something that is only applicable for people over 65 years old, we will have to look at the last two lines of this slide. And when you are over 65, you will only be paying for 20% of the income you get from your annuity. And if you are over 70, you will be paying only for 8% of what you get on the annuity. Let's say you get an annuity that gives you 10,000 euros a year, you will only be taxed for 800 euros. Or if you are from 66 to 69, those 1,000 euros a year, you will only be paying taxes over 2,000 euros. Okay. This is an example. As I said, everything has to be studied in particular cases, because there's much complexity and everything, all personal data takes its influence in this product. But let's say someone that was born in 1960, so it's briefly 66 years old, and establishes a life annuity of 240,000 euros, he will get 998.8 euros a month. Okay. And for its entire life. And you might say, oh, okay, what happens if I die soon or die early? You don't have to worry, because you have this remaining capital that would go to your beneficiaries or inheritors, and you will get on your simulation of the annuity, you will get a table like this that would tell you the capitals of the death capitals related to your annuity. So if you happen to die in, let's say, 2030, there will be 180,000 euros left for your inheritors or direct beneficiaries that you can designate in the policy. Okay. So you have two big benefits of using this product. One of them is reducing a lot of the capital gain tax that is related to that selling of the asset. And then the money you receive monthly is very well treated from the tax point of view and won't be added to all your regular income, will be treated as a financial income, and then reduce with these coefficients, and only 20 to 8% of the income would be taxable. Okay, and then you can establish this annuity in two ways. One of them, the one I simulated, is here, is that you are using the whole capital. So if we establish this today at 2045, you will have no money left. Okay. Any time before that, you have some remnant capital for your inheritors or beneficiaries, and then you can establish a modality in which you only use 50% of the capital. So anytime there will be at least 50% of those 240 or whatever money you establish the annuity with would be left for your inheritors or beneficiaries. It doesn't make a big difference. Like here, we are talking about 998 euros a month, consuming the whole capital, with the modality that you always have 50% for your inheritors. We might be talking about 780 to 800 euros a month. So there isn't much of a difference. Okay, and this all changes with the age that we begin to establish that annuity. And mostly,
Okay, well,
that's the brief presentation of what the product is. I know that this is a quite simple presentation that may arise more questions than answers, but I hope that you have a little clear idea of how it works, and for sure it's something that has to be studied with particular cases.
okay, Rafael, thank you very much. A few things to add here, Rafael.
Yeah.
That 20% or 8% is only, that will be the base that you will include on your income tax return, and is only taxable as income not from work, it's savings.
That's it. So it's a double benefit, because just a small part of what you receive is going to be taxed, and then it's going to be taxed as a saving, with a savings tax that is always lower than work or pension tax.
Correct. And then you will have the information on the taxation. I'm going to share it with you here. And is 19, 21, 23, 27, and 30. Okay. Yeah. Which is only on the 8%. So from the 8%, it is up to 6,000 euros. If the 8%, it doesn't reach 8,000 euros, is only 19% of that 8%. Is that correct, Rafael?
Yeah, that's it. So you
we're
might
talking
be
about
doing
peanuts, probably.
20 or 8%, and that would go at a tax rate from usually 90 to 24, because you wouldn't get, with this 240,000 euros, you wouldn't get much more than 16,000 a year. So you are always going to be on the lower side of the table for savings tax.
Okay, Pedro, would you like to start with the questions? I know he's been very, very busy with Albert and Rafael. And you
yeah,
guys...
no. Yeah, I just wanted to mention, I mean, how important is it to plan and make some simulations to make estate planning, to make a tax planning before in this case, before becoming tax resident. I've seen some questions about if I'm not resident, I'm tax resident. And Ignacio, we've been dealing with hundreds of clients in the past years that obviously whenever they ask, I mean, we make some simulations, we recommend what to do about investments, about reinvestments, about taxes. And it's been mentioned by Rafael about exemptions in case that you invest. But exemptions is like to exempt some base to be taxed. We have some of them in Spain. For example, if you are 65 years or older and you live in your property, which is your main home, if you sell it, there will not be capital gain tax. Even though you have a capital gain, will not be tax to pay because it's your main home. And sometimes you are not 65 or older, you are younger than 65, and you have your main home and you sell it. But if you reinvest it, then will also be exempt the amount that you reinvest. And as well as it's been said by Rafael, there are many clients that have assets abroad and has passed, and I will explain that a little bit. I will try to explain that has passed more than 2 years. They are residents in Spain. They have some other assets outside of Spain or in Spain, but not the main home. And whenever they sell it, they will have a capital gains tax. And this product, this tool, this vehicle is fantastic. Obviously, when the situation is that you are going to pay a high amount of tax or some big amount of tax, and maybe you want to make like some reinvestment, efficient tax efficient tool to do. And obviously, the equity release is fantastic for those one who want to have, like as has been said by Albert, fantastic some needs in terms of have a more money to the needs, whatever it is, as has been explained by Albert, and it's not taxed. As it is like it's a mortgage, it's money that you receive, and it's not income in order to include it in the tax return. So it's important to plan, to make a estate planning on taxes and before coming. For example, I was going to say, if you come to Spain, you become resident, and you left your main home outside, that main home still have, let's say, the concept of main home during the following 2 years from the day that you become resident in Spain. So if you come to Spain, you have not sold your property and you become tax resident in Spain, that day that you come, you have 2 years. That if you sell your property abroad and it's your main home, it means that you'll be living in that property at least 3 years. That will you will be able to use it as a for those exemptions. It's been said, if you're older, 65, and then 65 or older, and you've been living in the property more than 3 years, exempt, totally exempt. If not, if it's not your main home, and then if it's older, 65, then you will be able to reinvest in this kind of product as like an annuity, which is fantastic. And no, will not be able to reinvest as a main home because it has passed more than 2 years. Will be lower than 65. Will not be able to have this reinvestment exemption tool. Anyway, this is just some examples, but obviously it's important to plan on taxes. What is going to happen? What you are going to do in order to decide whether you become tax resident this year, maybe next year, maybe come at the end of a year, or maybe the transaction you are going to do, what kind of capital gain you will have, or maybe you will not have any capital gains because you're going to reinvest. Okay, and to answer some questions, Ignacio, I think it's been answered some questions on the writing, I can see. And by Liam, thank you, Liam, for what if the amount is less than 240,000 euros? I think it's been explained by Rafael. Well, it will be proportionally calculated in terms of if you do not reinvest the total amount, maximum amount of 240,000 euros, then will be proportionally calculated in terms of reducing the base to pay tax. You have to be 65 or older, yes, that's for sure. Ignacio, I don't know if you have some other questions there. You can see if you have one home in Spain and you don't own anyone to live in, it is supposed to draw down on value of the property to provide an income, to draw down on value.
That's exactly that's possible, William. You have one home in Spain, as Albert said, you are resident in Spain, you don't have anyone to live it to. Albert, this is the case about not having children. Okay, I understand that, William, we use in the British law, no beneficiaries. Is it possible to draw down on the value of the property to provide an income? Well, up to only 10%, 5% without proving, and then you have the annuity. So the only option about the product that we told you is the annuity. So you can have a monthly annuity and up to 10% only upfront. There is no other product, William, like that provides like a lump sum of 100,000 euros, and you could cancel off, or the executors could do it. We are what we're doing in this case. The executors will sell at the time, but if you wish, we did share it with you the video conference room in our website. If any of you wants to discuss it further with us, or with Albert and with Rafael, with Michael, Pedro, myself, yes, and yes, Jonathan, the equity release product is only for properties in Spain. Obviously, the bank here only deals with Spanish assets. I don't know whether you, through the UK, they could give you another equity release over there. But then if you're in a different country, if you're a tax resident in the UK, then you will need to apply for the equity release in the UK. But this presentation, in both cases, Albert and Rafael, only rely for Spanish tax residents. So you're relocating to Spain, you becoming tax resident, and then having the possibility of two pensions. One, based on the equity, on the property and your age. Two, about selling another asset that you've got abroad and you want to pay tax zero only if it's converted into an annuity. In case of the annuity that Rafael was explaining, the beneficiaries always get your money. So the money is not lost. In the case of the equity release that Albert is explaining, the beneficiaries only pay the debt up to the day you pass away. So it's uncertain how much money is going to be left. So at the time, they will have to sell the property or cancel the mortgage, which it will be an amount depending on the time that you leave. Okay. John is asking question. The savings are in the UK. Is no tax code. Well, John, I really think it is possible to, but we'll have to discuss it further. Selling the sale or moving the assets or moving the savings, that capital gain tax is what needs to be invested. Okay. Again, I would like just to say here that all this is general advice. All this is just for you to have an idea that first, you buy a property in Spain. Two, you have an equity release possibility. Three, you could have an annuity. It's very important for you to speak to your lawyer or lawyers who could help you with, like Pedro, myself, Michael, and financial advice as Rafael or ourselves. Okay, it's very important to do specific taxation, tax planning, and then discuss it all. And I think it's worth doing a consultation about any possible topic, any simulation, and then with everything on the table, all the cards on the table, you can make decisions. And information is key here. So the important thing of this webinar is to provide you all these possibilities, and only if applicable and suits you, then we can take it further. But it is, I know a lot of clients do not know all these products, and we considered this was very, very important to share it with you, to know there are possibilities of making your life a bit better, as Albert said with his presentation. Okay. Yes, in your case, John, if you speak to Guadalupe, and then just any of you, I did share with you the link for the video consultation. We have our 24 hours secretary, Paul, who's here on a daily basis, helping you. So you can write on the online consultation to just give you a little bit more of information based on what we've discussed today, because all the information Rafael and Albert did provide it could be provided to you and is in the website. Okay. But for the specific, we need to get cracking and sit down and study your case to make it most efficient And the whole idea here is to make the best out of it for you. Okay, so thank you for attending today. I'm sorry about the depth of content because I know it's thick, but it's good because it's only trying to have a pension in Spain. Okay, now I'm gonna thank Albert and Rafael, Michael, Pedro, Guillermo, and Juanfran. And Juanfran is gonna share with you a nice video for those who are planning to buy a property in Spain. Okay, well, thank you very much. And we'll hopefully see you very soon with new topics. Okay, thank you, Albert, Rafa, Pedro. Thank you. Hope to see you, Juanfran.
Buying a property in Spain. There are many reasons to purchase a property in Spain. The climate, the food, the culture, or simply to enjoy life. If you already see yourself buying the house of your dreams in the Mediterranean, it is important to be cautious and follow a series of steps. First, prepare a budget and take into account all the possible expenses. Remember to add transfer tax or VAT to the sale price, as well as legal fees, notary fees, and land registry fees. And even if it was love at first sight, do not rush or sign anything. The most important thing, especially if you're not yet a Spanish resident, is to hire an independent lawyer, a specialist who speaks your language and solely defends your interests. Together, you can review the characteristics of the house, should it have pending charges, negotiate a mortgage with the banks, and you will always be up to date throughout the whole process. But most importantly, fall in love with your property and do things by the book. Your new life starts there. Pellicer and Heredia, international lawyers.